David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. We took our Chinese next door neighbour and her kids out for dinner tonight. The enemy. We took the enemy out. Like they say, you keep your friends close, you keep your enemies closer. Nah, she's been fucking great since she's moved in next door. She has taken some of the heat off me. On the weekends, I send him over to her house first thing in the morning and don't let him back in the house till night. Like, stay over there. The baby's trying to sleep. What are you doing back here? Go and play with your friends. It's a nice day. Get the fuck outside. Parents don't swear at their kids enough. Get the fuck outside. Just get the fuck out there and play something outside. I don't care. Figure it out yourself, and if something happens, just scream really loud. Like real loud, because Dada's going to have his headphones in too, so he might not hear. But the Chinese, man, fucking hell. Just their fucking work ethic. There is no way I could compete in any industry besides podcasting and stand-up comedy against the Chinese. There's just no way, so why even try? They will work 10 times harder than me for 100 times less pay. So at dinner, she was just casually talking about what she does at work. She has a full-time job online in China. That's just doing some bullshit like financial planning or something like that. But she was saying the way she really makes money is she trades in stocks. And I'm like, hey, I actually trade in stocks myself. Well, to be a little bit more accurate, stock. One stock. Fucking Dino stock. But she trades in stocks in the US, China, and Hong Kong. So she has to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, she said, to get onto the US market. And then she starts working. And while she's doing this, so she's doing like fucking 14, 15-hour days on the computer, working and trading stocks. And while all this is going on, she has a 4-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son just running around the house causing havoc in Chinese, just yelling shit out in Chinese. And on top of that, she's got a fucking South Korean exchange student living in the spare room to offset some rent, so she's fucking feeding and clothing and looking after her too. On top of that, my kid is being sent over there about 7 days a week, give or take. On top of that, it's just her by herself. Her husband's back in China working. And that poor cunt sounds like he's having a hard time too. He's living in a fucking shoebox apartment. She said it was about the size of our toilet. And our toilet's not big, it's just a fucking toilet. And she said he works from 8 till 10. 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. every day in Shanghai. And she was like, this is just very common in China. It's not like a big surprise. And I'm like, just listening to this makes me want to neck myself. And they're just your normal Chinese. They're just your run-of-the-mill, average Joe, Zhang Wang and Xing Shuang. Nothing fancy. They have a little apartment in Shanghai. That's it. But that's your average Chinese. Internationally educated, double degrees, masters, multilingual, hardworking, efficient fucking monsters. How are you going to compete? And they're not even the high achievers. What are the fucking high achievers doing? How can you even compete against 1.5 billion of them? Alright, let's say it's not even 1.5 billion. Let's say there's heaps of like farmers and shit like that, uneducated people. There still would be a minimum of like 200, 300 million of that middle class, average Joe super people. That's tough to compete against. They'll outwork you and they'll do it for less. I really struggle sometimes just to do this podcast. I like to clear out about a 5-hour chunk of my day just to do this podcast. 2.5 hours either side of this podcast. Just to myself, I don't want any interaction from the outside world. But what I don't get is, what is the point of all that? Like, I assume they would say, we're working really hard now so our children can get a good education and a good job and have a nice life too. I'm like, you are that person. You are the person with the good education and the good job. You know what the end result of a good education and a good job is. It's fucking 14-hour days with no lunch break. So the good education and the good job has led you directly into a fucking miserable existence. But that's just me looking at it from the outside, because it's not necessarily true for the Chinese, because they are far more accepting of hard work. But they definitely don't enjoy it. They're not like, this is awesome, it's just part of the culture, or get shot, I suppose. But then that same cycle just perpetuates itself with their kids. So their kids will do the same to their kids. Gotta get a good education, gotta get a good job. Then your kids end up working 14 hours a fucking day. Fuck that. Who breaks the cycle? Where is the cycle broken? It gets fucking broken with me. That's where it gets broken. Now, I don't come from a long lineage of 14-hour per day workers. Nor do I come from a long lineage of 14-hour per week workers. But I want to set a good and proper example for my kid. I want to show him that you don't have to be smart, you don't have to be educated, and you don't have to work hard, and things can still kind of work out. Like the song goes, when I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que Boyle, Boyle. If that song sung by a mother to her ugly kid doesn't inspire you to just float through life, then I can't help you any further. All right, that is it for me tonight. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been sending messages and leaving reviews on Apple Podcasts. Thank you very much for that. You're all too fucking nice. Thank you. All right, see you the fuck later.